Okay, good afternoon. I'm Stan Garland. I'm the select board member of the Bernardston Select Board. And with us we have Brian Gear, Bob Raymond, Chief Shed, and Lou Bordeaux here at Town Hall. And Stephen Nettenpower is sitting here also watching with us. Purpose of tonight's meeting is just to go through and try to explain real quick what the plan is for a new fire station and to update people on what the process is going to be going forward here through town meeting, and hopefully we can get participants to show up to voice their concerns, and hopefully even tonight we can have participants that'll voice their concerns and let us know what they're thinking. I believe we've worked diligently on trying to get a plan to put forward for the town. And what we have and what we're going to present tonight is the proposal that we feel is our final best effort of trying to get a new fire station, as well as using the existing old fire station. With that being said, I'd like to turn it over to Brian DeVries to go ahead and update us on what he has. Brian?
Okay. This is the, can you see the cursor there?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's the existing fire station. This area is the new station with the addition of the offices. That's the most recent change to the plan. And those are moving closer to Church Street. The buildings are separated by 30 feet because there's a culvert, an 18-inch culvert pipe that runs between the two buildings that diverts the stream across Church Street and into the stream on the other side of Church Street. This scheme is utilizing the land that is owned by the town, so there's no additional expense in terms of purchasing land. There are a number of environmental issues that we've mentioned before. This line across here is the 200-foot riverfront area boundary, and that means that certain mitigation efforts have to be taken to compensate for developing the land in this area. So among those mitigation measures are planting wildlife habitat and removing invasive species, which would be done on the property across Church Street. If you look directly from the garage doors in the old station across the street, you'll see a parcel of land there, and that's where the mitigation would take place. We have to build a pond here to handle the runoff from the parking lot and roofs of the building. You're allowed to dump water into the street or on adjacent property without, settling out solids and hazardous materials from the runoff. So our scheme will drain the parking area and part of the building into this this pond, and then any solids would settle out of it, and the water would drain off into this existing stream that goes into the culvert. Let's see. This station is about this station's about 2 feet higher than the existing station, and that is because the land had to be raised in order to drain properly back to the new pond. So So we have the connector between these two buildings is actually a ramp, and it has handicap rails on either side of the hallway to get up to this new station. And moving on, did you have any questions about, before I move on to another slide, questions about this?
Does anybody have any questions for Brian? I'll go ahead and move on, Brian.
Well, before I go, there was a question about needing a ramp to enter this station because this is raised. We have like a 3% slope here on this area, which would satisfy the need for a ramp. And then we have a stair from the existing sidewalk to a landing, and then a stair up to the entry area of the existing building. There's a retaining wall around this raised landing up here we're proposing. It would be a granite, or not a granite, but a Goshen or Ashfield stone veneer on a concrete retaining wall. It would be a short wall. It would only be 2 feet high here at the sidewalk.
Okay. And that would allow a wheelchair to get in there?
Yeah, well, you'd go up the walk to this area here, and then that's a 3% rise. So you don't need any handrails or anything on that. It's a very gentle slope. And there's a handicap parking area right here near the entrance to the building.
Okay, and can you show the entrance again to the building? Where do you be going in?
Right here. There's a foyer there. There's the dispatch office here, the chief's office, and a conference area.
Okay. In the conference area, again, the size of that is 24 by 16. Is that correct?
That's correct. I'll start with a plan.
Okay.
Okay, so we have in the news station, here's the ramp. We have HVAC room, tool room, toilet room, laundry, another toilet room, and a shower. In this area here, I'm proposing turnout gear, but it can go other places too. Mm-hmm. We have 4 bays. There's a large rescue trailer that needs to be housed undercover, so this is a good opportunity to house it. I'm proposing that the brush truck and squad trucks, well, I'm not proposing it, the chief suggested parking the squad truck and the brush truck over in the old building. This is the foyer we were just talking about, dispatch office, chief's office, and conference. We're leaving the existing fire station as is.
Okay.
And that is the west elevation that is the parking lot and the entry area. There's the stair. The stairs are on the opposite side of this, but that's the difference in grade between the sidewalk and the entry slab to the building.
Okay.
And here's the south elevation facing from Church Street, facing the existing fire station. The connector is here. And this is a brick facade on the office and administration area. And there's the entry to the foyer. This is a lower roof, and the high roof of the apparatus room is here.
Going back to the front of the building, there was discussion on the roof line of it.
Yes.
People didn't like that cut out. I just want like a gable.
Yeah, that's a matter of preference, and you know that discussion can come in the final design. This is a feasibility study, and this is a suggestion of a way of making it an interesting looking facade rather than a straight gable.
So the people could decide at a later date how they'd like to have that look.
Yeah, if the majority opinion is against that, then that would change.
Okay, very good.
This is the back side of the building, the existing fire station and the new apparatus room and connector. And this is the elevation that would be the east elevation between the two buildings. There's the connector and ramp here. The administrative area. This is actually the conference room. There's the stairs up to the entrance to the foyer.
Okay.
So that's briefly what it's all about. And I think the advantages of this scheme are that it uses the existing fire station. It uses existing town-owned property, and it keeps the fire station in the center village.
Do you have any updates on cost for us with everything that's been going on, or?
Well, no, I don't. I've got some calls into contractors to see what's happening. Mostly it's in materials that have gone, some have gone very high during this pandemic. And also some price hikes are the result of the tariffs that were enacted a couple of years ago. But I think once the pandemic is over, that the pricing will settle down again. Right now it's kind of volatile. I don't believe it would affect, like the next thing you have to do is to secure the services of an owner's project manager and a designer. And I don't think the cost of those services would be affected by the pandemic. It's just material prices right now that seem to be going crazy.
And the design engineer, and that's in the pamphlet that you gave us, that cost is in there?
Yes, and that shouldn't be, yeah, that shouldn't be much affected by COVID.
Okay. That cost was $135, and then the owner's project manager. Could you explain to us what type of person that should be, or who it should be, or?
Well, this person is generally it's a contractor. A number of contractors offer these services. Like I know DA Sullivan does, and there's some companies that specialize just in the role of owner's project manager. Okay. It's something that a general contractor, or well, you can get qualified to be an OPM through a program, but there are quite a number of them around.
Are you qualified?
I am not. I could be qualified, but I have not taken the course. I have not done the coursework in that. Okay. There may be, you may have people in town that are qualified to do this or could look into it.
Very
but
good.
I mean, you can look up, I can make recommendations on OPMs too, if you need that.
So what we haven't completed on this plan here is the septic.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, we could use the existing septic if we put a pump up. Am I correct in saying that?
I think it would work by gravity, but I believe there's a way to get it to work by gravity.
Okay.
Because this building is actually higher than this one.
Okay.
So, but we haven't really gotten into that level of detail yet. That would be sort of in the next phase.
Okay. But that could add a significant cost to the project.
Well, if it turned out that you failed your Title V inspection on that existing system, then you might have to look for an alternative, like pumping up to the senior center. I think you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
That would be a more expensive proposition.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, going forward, the notice of intent.
Yes.
You've been working on that.
I have. That's contingent on completing this plan, which shows a greater or coverage of building. I mean, there's more of this building in the riverfront area, so that has to be compensated for. Bill Luttrell is working on the notice of intent narrative, and we have to get a stormwater management plan developed too, which I was going to reach out to a civil engineer on that.
Okay.
Walter Konofsky did the site plan and all the grading work on this design, but he prefers not to do the DEP forms and applications.
Would there have been a stormwater plan done previously with the plans that we had somewhat done years ago?
If I don't know how far you got with them, but I assume not. I don't think you would have done that until you actually started to move into the final design work for the,
that's what I was thinking, but I just wanted to be sure because I heard somebody say that they thought that was already done. So
no, I don't think so. I didn't see any evidence of that. And it would be contingent upon what plan that you develop, like the amount of hard surfaces that you're creating and how much volume of water you're going to have to manage. So I don't think it would have been relevant anyway. You'd have to redo it, even if it was done. But I would tend to doubt that there was anything developed that far.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience or that might have a question for Brian? If you do, just speak up and we'll hear your question. Okay, hearing none. What else do you have, Brian?
I don't have anything. We're continuing work. The next thing I'm doing is moving forward with the stormwater management plan. And any feedback that I get back from you or the fire department, I would take into consideration on, revising the plan or explaining anything that wasn't clear. Also, the cost figures are not, they're pre-COVID. I did escalate them for the addition of the administration area, but they don't really reflect the COVID impact on material prices.
Okay. Is there anything in this plan that would that we could use for COVID? We could use COVID relief money for that you could think of.
I can't think of anything. I mean, it's possible that there's certain equipment, and the fire department might need that could be supplied by that, or I don't know if you might want to look at a generator.
Yeah,
So,
we definitely want to look at a generator. We've that we feel is pretty much a must-have. That's not a need, but a must. So we definitely need to look at that. Now the solar panels, again, we could do something with that later, or we could do something with that during the construction, correct?
that's correct. If you intend, your electrical service may be impacted by adding solar panels. So you probably want to prepare for the addition of solar panels in your design anyway, for your electrical.
Okay. We're trying to move forward a little bit quicker than we have in the past. We have a meeting planned for May 6th, which is a Thursday night at the barn at Kringle Candle.
Yeah.
And at that, we're going to present it to the public for a vote to see if they would go along with this proposal. And if not, to see what they would go along with.
Okay.
So we'll have to get that word. The presentation that you presented tonight would be great at that meeting, because I think you explain a lot of stuff that we would probably miss as you went through the different drawings.
Yes.
So I think if you could, I don't know if that's possible for you to attend that meeting that night.
I think I can do that. I'm just
Okay.
checking the calendar right here.
We're really trying to get the townspeople to get involved, to get behind us, or
Yeah.
however they feel, but to turn out so we can bring this project to end one way or the other. That's our hopes.
It looks like I'm clear. I'm clear on Thursday night. So what time was the meeting?
7 o'clock.
7? Yeah, I'm good for that.
Okay. We'll plan on seeing you then. Are the select board members or anybody else in this room have anything else for Brian? No.
I got one question.
Pete Shedd's got a question for you.
Sure.
I don't want to change the layout, but I just wonder, would it be better to swap the bathrooms and shower in the area where the HVAC and tool room are?
Sure. Yeah, I don't have a.
If I'd make a more direct route connecting to the septic system.
That's certainly, yeah, that's certainly possible.
I don't know if there's any requirement and how far away the bathrooms have to be from the office areas or anything like that.
Yeah, I'd have to check the
plumbing situation.
Yeah, that is a detail that we can study further as we get, certainly that's I mean, it wouldn't be any problem to switch things if that made the plumbing situation better.
Yeah, because that ramp isn't fixed. That could be slid down, right?
The ramp?
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to use the opening where the window is in that bay.
Oh, okay.
But we can move, if whatever needs to be done, we'll do. I mean, to make it work.
Okay. Good. Anything else, Brian? Oh, okay. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate your input.
All right. I'll be in touch with you more about the meeting on the 6th, about what you need for that.
Okay. Very good. I appreciate that. Peter, I'm going to turn it over to you for a minute to see if you want to explain to the people the need for this, what we've been trying to accomplish, how you guys are working now, and how this will at least improve what's going on at the current time.
Okay, hope everybody can hear me all right. The biggest issue so far has been space. In many ways, we're looking for a safe area and space that the firefighters can move freely around the vehicles, entering the station and moving around the vehicle. It's very tight and cramped in the existing building. The new building opens up far more space around the vehicles, making it far safer for exiting and getting in and out of the vehicles. It gives more space for people donning their gear before and getting into the equipment. And the other thing is space. I mean, look at our existing building. I mean, we literally have no closet space, storage space, or anything else. So, I mean, we're greatly opened up and give us a lot more space to do that in safe operation. Again, cleaner and neater operation. The only other bigger issues when the station was built in the early 70s, we were responding to like calls 30 to 35 calls a year. Now in the last 3 or 4 years, we've been consistently over 300 calls per year. So the call volume has definitely grown over the years. The trucks have grown over the years. When this current station was first built, the main truck they had at that time was a 1952 Ford, the 500-gallon tank on it, which at that time was huge. When that truck came out, that was a huge thing to have that 500-gallon water tank. Nowadays, I mean, you have brush trucks that carry 500 gallons of water. So for structural firefighting, that is far gone. Our smallest truck now has 800 gallons, and the other truck, one has 1,000 and one has 1,250 gallons of water. So the trucks have gotten bigger to carry the water and carry the added equipment. So, I mean, the progress of fighting fires has definitely changed in the 40 years since the other station was built. In the old station or our current station now, when we want to build a truck or buy a truck, we have perimeters, and that's the size of the building. So, I mean, you have to build a truck that's going to fit in the building. Going with a building gives you a little bit more leeway, a few more options. The other thing that I really like about this new building is it gets the trucks away from Route 10. Little safer area again when you come back and you're laying your hose out or washing your hose equipment. You're away from the roadway. On the existing station, when you roll the hoses out, the hoses are quite often right out into the breakdown lane. So it does makes it a dangerous situation for firefighters, cleaning up and repacking hose and that type of thing. Again, when the trucks pull in, they would be taking a right-hand turn or left-hand turn off of Route 10 into that parking area, and there would be no backing into the station, which has been issues in the past. We have to watch out for vehicles swooping by as you're backing in and out of the station. So it's safety factor is a huge consideration to turning the buildings like we suggested and getting the trucks off the highway and out of the highway.
In your existing station right now, you have a conference room, I would say training room, I would say hangout room, all encompassed in one. What's the condition of that?
It's pretty tight. We had some issues with the ceiling over. It was constructed to try to save space and make it a thing. Unfortunately, it really wasn't made of the right materials. We've had problems with the material getting wet, and the firefighters have been upstairs for whatever reason. It's giving way. It doesn't have the strength. They've actually broken through, and not fell all the way down through, but one of the guys did. His foot magically reappeared in our meeting room not one night. So again, not the safest operation. I mean, the intent when it was built was a great idea. It was built by the association, and we were trying to cut some corners and make it and do it as quickly and as cheaply as possible. The materials that we had that were given to us really weren't the materials that should have been used.
Thank you, Peter. Any questions for Peter from anybody? Hearing none, we'll move on. As a select board group, we have been trying to, like I said earlier, come up with a way to try to resolve the problems that the fire department has. We have several buildings in town that need repair and upgrading and whatnot. This is perhaps, or I shouldn't say perhaps, we know this is the one that is the forefront because of the needs that we have for it. A lot of the calls that Peter talks about are medical calls, and there isn't a lot of room in the station to keep the supplies that are needed for these medical calls. And that's being required as things change daily. The other thing we face is as OSHA starts getting involved in what they're doing, they're getting involved in your municipal buildings and stuff. We're going to see some changes, and we know that the old station is not going to fit a lot of their requirements. So one way or the other, we need to do something. And the idea of joining forces with another fire department has been brought forth. We've got absolutely nowhere with that. And that would be a huge price tag. You're probably talking, if you wanted to build a station, a community station between two different towns, you're probably talking somewhere, I would say, in a facility of 15 million or above to have that taken care of. So, but that's just my guess, folks. It's not, but hearing whatever that's going on in other communities and what they're building stations for, I think that would be a good guess. So our hopes are that we can bring this plan to a meeting on May 6th. Hopefully we'll get more participants to show up for the meeting to discuss this and see what we've been doing. Without the help of the townspeople, and the townspeople either get behind us or not, this isn't going to happen. So we again urge you to come out on May 6th to listen to the presentation that's going to be given by Brian DeVries, Peter Shedd, and the select board, and hopefully we'll find a way either to go forward with this plan. But if we don't go forward with this plan, something has to happen. We just can't continue to survive in the facility that they're in right now. Right now, we're also renting space for one of our fire trucks. We're renting a bay at another facility for $500 a month. So those are the things we're facing. And if things get worse, we might have to run another bay somewhere. So please help us, come out and talk to us. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to discuss with this? Or?
Well, I would just say, this is Bob Raymond speaking, that we've tried to keep the fire station in Center Village. I think that was, we heard that loud and clear from the public at the last meeting. Bud Foster donated his property to the town, and we plan on taking that house down, and there should be plenty of room there for the addition. We know we have a young and vibrant volunteer fire department. I think the things that we need to do is to help them with their facility. The room that they now meet in is, I mean, I've seen boys' clubhouses that they made when they were teenagers look better than that thing. So it's just served its purpose. It's 50 years old, and it was great in the beginning, and now we just need to update things. And I would say this also, that everything that Stan has mentioned and Lou Bordeaux has tried for grants, a lot of these things need to be shovel ready. And what that means is that the town has approved it up to a certain amount of spending. And once that's done and we can work on the plans, then the state may come through with, you know, hopefully $1 million or $2 million to help us out. It's trying times, we know, but I think we need to do this because we need to keep our fire department at the top of the list. And we thought the cost would be a little bit lower. Unfortunately, that hasn't come to fruition, but as Jane Duchess says, the cost is going to do nothing but go up. So we're trying the best that we can. So
we are trying to get a loan that will help us pay for this. There's a lot of controversy about that as well. It's through the USDA. It's a 40-year loan. It's a very low rate. There is no penalty to pay it off early. So even though it's a 40-year loan, doesn't mean that we have to take 40 years to pay the loan off. Whatever we do is it's going to raise our taxes. We know that, and we're going to try to minimize going forward what that dollar amount would be. Right now, we're looking at probably close to, just for the building a facility, probably $2 million, $2.2 million. And then you have your other project costs that are involved in that, would be about $226,000. That's your design engineer and your owner's project manager, your engineers and boring test, your concrete and soil testing, and the legal advertising. Now, these are just preliminary costs, construction costs. And we all know how the price of everything is going up. So we're hoping that we can stay somewhere in that realm. And we're looking at, when we present things to the town, we're talking $2 million to $2.5 million. And again, folks, that's the best guess estimate that we can come up with. And it's, the architect has assured us that the numbers that he has put down for the preliminary construction costs are good estimates. He has reached out for contractors and for these prices. It's not just stuff that he's taken off the top of his head. So he's worked diligently on trying to get those numbers for us, and hopefully we can come in somewhere around that. But we'll know better as we get into the next phase of this project, which would be if it gets passed on May 6th and we get the 2.5% exclusion vote done the next Monday. We'll move on to the design plan. And once we get that design plan done, we will have more accurate numbers as far as what this is actually going to cost us. So that's all I have to talk about tonight. Brian, you have anything else? Chief?
No.
Okay. Does anybody out there have any questions or comments for us? Be glad to hear anything. Okay, well, we thank you all for participating and coming on tonight. And we look forward to seeing everybody at our annual town meeting on May 5th, and then at the fire station meeting on May 6th. And these will be held at the barn at Kringle Candle. So hopefully we'll see you then. Have a good night, folks.
And you might want to just say to BNC TV that we're going to just take a break and we will call a meeting to order in about 10 minutes.
Yes, we still have a selectmen's finance meeting on the budget that we're going to come back to doing. So BNC TV, we're going to be taking a, I would say a 5-minute break.
Lou, are you, Stan, are you going to need me?
Yes, I hear you.
So this is Chris. Are you going to need me to go over the bylaws? Are you going to be working on those tonight?
What?
Chris wants to know if we're going to go over the bylaws.
We're going to try to get through things tonight.
Okay. Well, if you have questions, I can come down.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
You don't have to come down right now. If we need you, we can give you a buzz.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.